Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's call. We are so happy to have you. We hope you had a wonderful week, a great month end, and for those in the United States, we hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. We love celebrating these freedoms that we all enjoy together. But thanks for being here tonight. Let's get things going.
Okay, last week we had an announcement at the end of the call. Do you remember what it was?
Yes, well, we had a few announcements.
We did, but we had a big announcement.
Okay, so can I run through them and make sure I get them?
No, I only wanted you to talk about one. So
Okay.
what I'm talking about is...
The 50-cent enrollment?
That's it!
Okay. Yes! Got it, 50-cent enrollment. And we had the promotion for the end of the month, that night, the last few hours.
Yes.
If you took advantage of the 50-cent enrollment for QLAs, of course.
Yes.
PCs, you have no enrollment. Then the person who enrolled someone, a PC or a QLA, they were entered into a drawing.
So let me just decipher this in case this is sounding confusing. For the month of July, you can enroll any new QLAs for only 50 cents. Normally, it is $49 for the year. So it's 50 cents for the yearly membership price, okay? So that's what we're talking about.
That was so much better.
Yeah,
than
thanks.
what I thought. Sorry.
So that's what we're talking about. So last week we said, starting at the end of that call, so basically 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time until midnight, anybody who enrolled a new QLA or preferred customer would go into a drawing for
a free bottle of Ionex Gold, 4 ounce.
That's right. So we're going to do a drawing right now, okay? So, yeah, you can draw. I'm just
I'll
mixing
draw one,
them.
you draw one.
Okay, all right.
How about
We're going to do 2?
Yes, let's do 2.
2 it is.
All right. Hannah Craig, congratulations. Thanks for enrolling somebody last week. You did a great job.
Good job, Hannah. Okay, next.
Oh, wait.
Next and last.
Let me hold the
Thank
basket.
you. Lee Brewster. Fun fact about Lee Brewster.
Yeah.
She was actually the first one to enroll somebody after we made the announcement.
Whoa. Oh, yeah. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, Lee. Good job, Hannah. Congratulations. We'll send out your free bottle of Ionex Gold.
Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different here, okay, for the rest of the month. So we're just telling you what's happening now for the rest of the month. Now, if you'll remember, last week, Lauren surprised us all with a crazy giveaway. He said that for the month of July, whoever had the most enrollments, the highest number of enrollments for the
PC
entire...
or QLA?
Yeah, it can be, you can enroll PCs, you can enroll new QLAs, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Combination of both. Whoever had the most enrollments by the end of July would receive airfare and 2 nights in a hotel for our September Day of Discovery event.
That's awesome.
That's
the airfare was on a
huge.
cargo plane, if I remember right.
That's only if you're paying for it.
Okay,
We
yeah,
cleared that up. You'll go on a good plane.
So you're going to put them in a nice seat? Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
but didn't we have, should we give them kind of a framework of what June looked like?
Okay. So just to kind of see what they're shooting for?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many, the top enroller for the month of June, how many people, enrollments did they have?
The 6. 6 was the highest. One person had 6 enrollments in the month of June. And so I think if
doable.
you're reaching for something, you're reaching for 6, maybe 7. Obviously, you're going to have a few people gunning for that.
That's a big prize.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So,
But what are we going to do along the way? So we're not going to do a weekly top enroller because of this, because
That's right.
it's a big deal.
that's right. So we don't want to give away who the potential winner is because it is such a big prize.
Okay.
So what we're going to do starting next week, we're going to give you the top 10 highest enrollers for the week. And we'll do that every week leading up to the giveaway.
Okay.
Okay?
In alphabetical order,
Alphabetical
right? So
order.
nobody knows
You won't
exactly
know
who's in the lead, right?
Yep.
That makes it kind of fun.
I like it.
Have some fun with it. We're going to, gamify this a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay.
Okay, now speaking of Day of Discovery, we've been asked so many times if we would be broadcasting our Day of Discovery that we had a couple of weeks ago. And while we haven't decided to do that, we are showing bits and pieces from it. And so our next segment is from our Day of Discovery with Deborah Bruce, and I hope you love this.
Oh, I love Deborah Bruce. She's fantastic. It's going to be a good one.
I'm not part Italian, but I do talk with my hands just like I. So if I hit myself in the head with the microphone, you'll know what's going on. I'm going to carry on a theme here. I have 3 aliens. One's 43, one turned 38 last week, and the other one is 35. The youngest one says that makes me officially old age, but what are you gonna do? I also have sub-aliens. I have a grandson, 11. I have a granddaughter, 12, and I have a Miss Lily Grace, who's 18 months. She is the love of my life. Miss Lily likes Peppa Pig. Does anybody know who Peppa Pig is? Okay. It's an interesting cartoon for kids. And she just turned 18 months, and last week she learned the noise that Peppa Pig makes. Lily, what does Peppa say? It sounds like we have a pig farm this last week. All she goes around is doing Peppa Pig. So anyway, she is the love of my life, and at some point in the future I'll tell you the story about I was not supposed to have two of those two grandchildren because my daughter had a rare disease, and it's actually how I got into frequency work. It's a whole different story all of its own. Now, to backtrack, Lauren was my left-hand turn, okay? I was in doing frequency work for quite a number of years. I started in '93, and just by chance, I got shown a video of the Crazy Russians on a phone by another doctor, and he said, this guy's coming out in 2 weeks to show us how this stuff works. Do you want to come? That was my left-hand turn, and without hesitation, I said, absolutely. Met Lauren a couple weeks later, and he'll tell you the story sometime. I was the first one to give him an American Express and said, put it on my card. My American Express was the type that you had to pay 30 days later. I did not have 30 whatever thousand it was at the time, but I did it. And the reason I did it was, as he was talking, it was magical. And it wasn't sleight of hand magical. It was magical because I recognized the voice of truth. What he was saying resonated with me. Didn't know what it was, didn't know how it worked, knew the concept, but I could see that the difference between what I was doing, which at the time was electrodermal screening, and what I was seeing with this, that's what I had to have it. I just had to have it. So here I am. And I am grateful to this day that I took that left-hand turn. So thank you, Lauren. Yeah. Means it's just my heart. Marv had said something to me earlier that really touched me too. He said, you guys are going to go home with a lot of information, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas. But when it comes to connecting the dots that are probably the most important today is the dots that we connect between each other as far as relationships. The relationships that we form here today and start to foster and start to have grow, that's what's really important. Because then as we go along, we're all going to share information that we know. We're all going to help each other connect other dots. So I just wanted to say how thankful I am that you're all here. I'm really grateful that we get to contribute to Lauren's dream coming true and that we get to support each other. So that's really important to me. Okay, this clicker. Haha. Might be the only time it goes the right direction, so enjoy it while it lasts. A few common questions. Over at the office, they get tons of questions from you guys. A lot of really good questions. And as we go along over time, we'll be able to answer a lot more of them, but we decided just to do a few of the most common ones, or maybe ones that puzzled you. And so, here's the first one. Do I have this or don't I? Something comes up on your scanner, and you're looking at it, and you're saying, oh my gosh, you panic. Do I have this? Is this saying I have this? Is this serious? Is it going to affect me? Am I going to die? I mean, these are the thoughts that go through our head, right? And we kind of know better, but it's what goes through our heads. Here is one of the more common ones that gets asked about, the MTHFR, okay? Obviously you have the genes. Some people have mutations of them. And people get confused when it comes up on the scanner. And it can be a number of different scenarios. I'm just going to cover a couple of them. But somebody knows they have the mutation, and it comes up that it's in range. It's like, well, my scanner's broken, it's not working, what's wrong? They call customer service, how do I fix it, right? Probably one of the most foundational, basic, important ideas to get through your head, solidly cemented, is that your Solex mobile scanner is not diagnostic. This is so important, I couldn't say it enough times. It is not diagnostic, okay? It's really important because in the body, there are ebbs and flows of frequencies, constantly, ebbs and flows. If you kind of think of it like the tide, it's just constantly changing. So there are things like this that are in your Solex mobile scanner that depending on where you are, let's say you have 1 or 2 mutations, depending on where you are is going to show whether you're in or out of that particular range. It's like there's a broadband amount of frequencies for each of the things that's in your scanner. And you can be somewhere in that range. So let's say that somebody has gone to their doctor and they know they absolutely have these mutations. Why is it saying something's in range? Well, let's say that their primary caregiver has explained to them there are certain ways that you can support what's going on with this, okay? There's a lot of things that they're attributing to the MTHFR factor that they aren't even really sure yet is exactly connected with it. It's not a concrete science about everything they think that's associated with it. They're saying that there's possible cardiovascular things associated with it, possible bipolar, anxiety, the list goes on and on, okay? But let's say that they're doing everything they should do to support what shows up when they do have this mutation. Let's say they have cut back on the alcohol they drink. Let's say that they're supporting their liver. Let's say they just go down the list and they're doing everything they can possibly to do to assist their body. Whoops, I told you I'd do that. There we go. Then what happens is the frequencies in the body that the brain is recognizing that are associated with this gene, they start to get into that bandwidth that is in range, okay? Now, let's say that they go and they just start drinking a bunch of alcohol, they don't support their liver, they have a bunch of other things they do that have an aggravation to it. The next time they scan, it could be outside of that broad bandwidth, and so it'll show that it's out of range. Same goes for somebody that knows that they don't have it. They don't have it at all. They've already been tested, they wondered, they thought, okay? So they're like, well, how can it be out of range if I don't even have it? A problem with it. Well, here again, what is their lifestyle like? Is their brain picking up that there are frequencies in their lifestyles that are just looking like there's a problem with the gene? They don't have it. They don't have the mutation. There's no test that's going to show that they have it. They don't. But they're starting to edge their body into a broadband frequency range that is going to register as if it was an issue. So this is where you can get really, really excited. You can start not worrying about what you see because you think you're having that mental diagnostic frame. If the faster you get out of considering it diagnostic, the faster that you are going to get really, really excited on how you can work with your scanner. Because you can start to look at these different ranges that come in and go out and come in and go out. And then you can start implementing lifestyle changes like better hydration, better diet, exercise, better sleep. And all of a sudden you start seeing that these fluctuations start to have more and more ends. You know, then you go away for the weekend and you eat the donuts and you do this and you do that and you do everything else and you come back the next week and you say, oops, there's more that are out. So you start to actually enjoy the science that is behind it, and you get to use what you see in it to really increase your sense of well-being, and you can make it fun. So just try as hard as you can to get it where you do not ever, 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 ever consider your scanner to be diagnostic. And you're going to be doing yourself a big favor. In fact, if you do consider it to be diagnostic, if that's just kind of subconscious and you need to get out of that, think of it this way. If you lock yourself into thinking it's diagnostic, you're limiting yourself to one label. But what if your Solex mobile scanner has a huge range of frequencies that you can investigate and start to connect the dots, and you learn a million times more about yourself or people that you're working on because you didn't limit yourself to the one label that was diagnostic. So there's a lot of benefit in not doing so. Back here. Oh, the reason I had two of those slides is because those two slides were from the same person and they were just a couple of days apart. So if it was diagnostic, how on earth would it be this way one day and 2 days later like that? And I know because it's me. Okay? Okay. Here's another one. Do I need more or less of this? So, how many of you have looked at this list at times and think, oh, do I have to take more of this? Am I taking enough of this? Do I need more? Do I need less? Okay, here it's the same thing. There are so many frequencies that are associated with what you take. And there are so many different factors that can affect how your body uses it. Now, what's going to happen if somebody has been taking their B vitamins and all of a sudden they have a day that is extremely stressful? Bam! Body burns through them like a wildfire and they're left with a deficit. Okay? Or what happens if somebody is taking some supplements that need to have the correct fats and according to the body in order to be able to use them? And they aren't doing that. Then they're going to have a problem with assimilation because of that. So here again, this isn't always about it's in range, it's out of range, I need more, I need less. It's going to take some work on your part to think about what you're doing, investigate some of the other areas that are in your comprehensive and vitals to start connecting the dots. And the more you do that, the more you're going to gain knowledge about how your scanner works, your mobile scanner works, and the more benefit you're going to see from it. Why does it list these? This is a great list. I love this list. Okay? So, you have somebody that comes in and, well, let's pick on a couple of these. They don't drink alcohol at all. They don't touch it. Okay? Never have. Don't like it. Don't use it. And they look at it and they say, this is phooey. There is no way. This is just phooey. This doesn't work. It's not accurate. You know, all the charms they can tell you that it is. It's really interesting because over the last few years, what I've seen a lot of is if you use this list to connect back to some of the dots that are in, for example, the comprehensive, you'll start to see that people that show up for alcohol that never use alcohol actually show a lot of digestive issues. And because they're not breaking down their food in the stomach and then it's not digesting in the small intestine, they actually have their own private Kentucky distillery going on in the gut. They're producing their own alcohol. There actually is a rare disease where people have been pulled over and been tested by the police, and they have a rare disease where everything that they eat turns into alcohol in the gut, and they've actually tested high enough to have a DUI. Wow. It's very, very, very rare, but it was only by finding that on the internet that I was able to start making sense of why so many of my people were showing up as having alcohol that didn't drink alcohol. So let's pick on another one. Tobacco and nicotine. Okay, tobacco and nicotine. I don't smoke, I've never smoked, I haven't been around secondhand smoke. Here again, there's something wrong with this. This just doesn't work. In looking into this one, it was really fascinating. we all know that with tobacco, that it gets dried, it gets rolled up, it gets processed, and it gets smoked, correct? Okay. How many of you this last week smoked your tomatoes, your potatoes, your peppers, your eggplant, your cauliflower? Anybody tried that? But guess what? When you ate those, they have nicotine in them. So you are eating the nicotine, and it's absorbing into the tissue. And the brain, since it knows the frequency profile, fingerprint of that nicotine, with a scan says, oh, well, I don't do tobacco, at least, but you are having it register for the frequency of nicotine. So that's where people start getting sensitive to nightshade plants and things of that nature. Another one that's interesting is the drugs recreational, okay? Have a lot of questions on that one. That one actually has a lot of different situations where it could come that it's in range. If you ever have been to a concert and you just have that wonderful, everybody around me smoking pot, okay? The brain is gonna recognize that you did inhale. You did inhale. So that frequency of that, the brain recognizes it. It doesn't care what you're thinking about, where it was or what it was. It just knows it's been subjected to it, and it identifies it. Another situation could be there are a lot of over-the-counter drugs now that are legal to buy, but if you go up to the register with a cart full of them, they aren't going to let you buy them because they're used to make meth. So if you've ever used Benadryl, if you've ever used Sudafed, if you've ever used NyQuil, there's a whole list of them. You can look them up. Then the fingerprint frequencies of those are ones that are used to make recreational drugs. The other situation could be that you have over-the-counter things that you have taken that used to be pharmaceutical, no longer a pharmaceutical. So there's a number of different situations with this. Metabolic waste. A lot of times that can even just go in and out. Ask the person or ask yourself today, am I a walking piece of beef jerky? It doesn't work. So you end up with a buildup of waste. We need water in order to, simple hydration. You can start on a day-to-day basis, see this go in, go out, go in and go out. So there's a lot that you can do with this list to really not just help yourself, but to help people that you scan to see the validity, the value, just how much improvement they can make from just even a small thing slide like this. And it just goes and goes and goes. So what is it? Well, here's something to keep in mind. Anything when you use your Solex mobile scanner can be cellular memory, it can be residual damage, it can be residual toxicity, residual or developing inflammation, developing frequencies already present. Even sometimes you will see things that could be as far back as generational or in utero. So how on earth, if everything that you see on this superb scanner that gives you all of this information, how on earth could it be diagnostic when it can have this many variables? It can't. It isn't. It's not. So repeat after me. It is not diagnostic.
It is not diagnostic.
I didn't hear you.
It is not diagnostic.
Yes. Yay. That's probably one of the most important things that you can take home as a piece of information. Dive into it. Do a deep dive. Start enjoying the frequencies. Start watching how they go back and forth. Don't be afraid of when it says it's in range or it's out of range, it's in, it's out, it's this or that. Just enjoy it. And the more you do that and the more you research into why those things are fluctuating, the more you're going to learn and the more you're not only going to benefit yourself, but what the people you work with. Okay? So we'll have lots more of this information in the future, but we figured we'd just take a few of the ones that we hear the most and see if that would help you understand a little bit of the ebbs and flows of the frequencies and how it works. Okay? Great.
Hi, everyone. Hope you had a great 4th of July. We did. And I got great news. We got another update for you tonight. Tonight, you're going to be able to update the newest one. And this newest one is chakras and meridians in the vitals report. So now you'll have another section. Right after the blood, you'll have one that says chakras and meridians. And so you'll be able to click on that and you can scan the 7 main chakras and see how they're affecting the physical functionality of your body, if they're stressed or not functioning right. And then you have the meridians, so you can actually see how the energy is flowing through your body and to see where those blockages are and see how they also affect the physical parts of our body. You're going to love this one. It's been in our big scanner for years and a very popular part. Now, just so you know, chakras and meridians are based on our energy flow, just like circulation is about our circulation of the blood through the arteries and the veins, and our nervous system, how nerve signals travel through our body. Chakras and meridians are just the same thing, but it's the energy flow of the body. So look at your chakras as circuit breakers, like in your electrical panel in your house. Those are your main 7 circuit breakers, and when one of those is flipped off, it affects a whole myriad of things in your body. Now, the meridians, you would compare that to the wiring in your house. That's the wiring that goes from the circuit board or the circuit breaker box through the house and throughout, in this case, through your body. So looking at the chakras and meridians from the Eastern medical look at this is helping us understand how the chi, or the energy, flows through our body. I think you're going to really like this, and it will really help bring another dimension to the vital scan. Live tonight. Well, you're going to like it. Now, there's another thing that's going live tonight, and this one I think you're going to like as well. And this ties into Easy Scan, and we've had a few questions on that, and I'm going to address those in a minute. But let me explain this. When you're done doing your Easy Scan, it will come up with some suggestions based on what you've loaded into your library of things that you resonate with at this point that would help maybe quiet down the noise energetically in our body. So that goes live tonight too. And I look forward to your questions because I'm sure we'll have some for next Wednesday. So tonight, go in, update, give it a few seconds, let it update, and go to work. And then let us know what you think. All right, so let's jump into some questions. Okay, so one of the questions that is, it's actually come in several times. And today, this particular question, Deborah did some explanation on it. So I'm kind of just recapping that and asking you to go back and watch that part if you missed it. And it's about parasites. And that can also transfer into bacteria and virus as well. Why do they show up? Sometimes they don't show up from one scan to the next. And what does that mean? And for some of you, that's causing you some angst and causing you to maybe doubt the efficacy of the AO scan. So let's go back to the very beginning. What's our mantra? We don't diagnose, treat, or cure. Remember that. Every time you look at your machine, we're looking at the frequency disruptions in the body. And so what you want to do when you see those things, and like Deborah said earlier in the call tonight, from her Day of Discovery lecture, she explained why some of these things will come in and out and they don't seem to make sense when you look at it. So go back and watch that. And if those of you who are coming to are going to go to the Phase 1 instruction in Solex University, that's going to go into a lot more detail. But like I've explained to you in the past, don't look at a single item in your reports. You have to look at the report in its entirety, because what could be out here might be a result of something else in the system. And so one of the things that we're going to address in Phase 1 is how to connect those dots. And it requires a little bit more work than just a 10 or 15 minute explanation here. But everything is frequency. And when you throw a rock into a pond, you get your ripples. Well, if you throw another rock in, or someone else throws a rock in, it causes other ripples, and those ripples affect the other ripples. Same way. Sometimes something will show out, and the next day you scan it, it's back in. Why and does that work? Go back and watch her talk again if you didn't pick that up. But look at your reports in the entirety to understand why something will go in and out from one scan to the next. Okay? So this next question is really a good one. I mean, all your questions are good, but this one's good for right now, and that is, what's the schedule? When should I do this scan or that scan? How often should I do the scans? Whenever you think about it, this is the time you should do a scan. But which scan should you do when? Quick scan is one that you can do every single day. Takes just 6 minutes of your time. It's going to give you some ideas of what you can do. If at the end of that quick scan you need a little bit more information, then go in and do an in-depth inner voice or maybe a vitals. But the quick scan you should do every day. Now, if you do just a vitals, you do your inner voice and your vitals and your comprehensive, that little scenario, that's going to take you about 15, 20 minutes. Maybe once or twice a week is a really good one for that. But again, gauge yourself, listen to your body. You'll kind of know when you need to dig a little deeper into something. On your inner voice, do your inner voice multiple times through the day. Our moods change, our emotions change throughout the day. So morning, midday, evening, do an inner voice takes 10 seconds. And then if you listen to your music, maximum 12 more minutes, and you can do that just sitting in a chair or laying down and relaxing. Inner voice is so important. So important is keeping our emotions in check. So, quick scan every day. Maybe take Saturday and Sunday off, but every day is okay for that. Inner voice, 3-4 times a day, 2 times a day, once a day. No issues with, no way to overdo inner voice. And your music will change from one time to the next. Because remember, it's not the music that's doing the magic. It's what's behind the music. And that's based on your frequency signature at that moment in time. Inner voice as many times as you want. Now, if you're going to do a full inner voice, a full vitals, and a full comprehensive, you're talking 15, 20 minutes. And maybe that once a week, twice a week. Once a week is generally enough. And after you get really going, and now that you have the quick scan that you can do every day, you might even be able to reduce that full package down to maybe once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks if you're consistent. Now again, guys, if you're on medication for blood pressure or diabetes or something, you're religious. You take it every day. Get to the point of understanding how important doing your quick scan is, or at least your inner voice. Do it every day. Keep those things fine-tuned. If you're a musician, you're always tuning your guitar or tuning your piano because it's important that those frequencies are right. Okay, now, the custom scan, where you did the entire enchilada, the whole thing, that's going to take you a good 45 minutes to an hour. Once or twice a year. It's so much information being processed. And again, if you're going to do the scan, do the optimization. You wouldn't get up in the morning, take a shower, not dry off. You need to get up, do your scan, then optimize, because that's what finishes it. Okay? So again, real quick recap. Quick scan daily. Inner voice as often as you want. Inner voice, vitals, comprehensive, once, twice a week, once, twice every 2-3 weeks if you're consistent with your quick scans. And then the custom, once or twice a year. Okay, so I hope that clears that up and you start to utilize your device better. Okay? All right, wait. Before I go to the next question, I call it quick scan because it's a quick scan. I'm referring to the easy scan. Okay, so everything I just said, replace quick scan to easy scan. Okay, let's just make sure that's the way it's done. And in conjunction with that, to make easy scan really, really effective, especially after tonight, make sure that you've got your supplements loaded in. so that it can go and draw from those. And I forgot to tell you, there's another part of that, and that is if you go into the quick scan, now this time I'm meaning quick scan, if you go into the quick scan, you have, and you go to supplement library, you have an option that says AO library. That goes active tonight. And in there it has SEFI frequencies, it has homeopathic frequencies, it has the homeoenergetic frequencies, and when you do your easy scan, at the end of the easy scan, it will go to the AO library, and if you've selected some of the other supplements, it'll go there as well, and it will find the top 3 or 4 of those that would be, that you resonate with at that moment. Okay, so that goes live tonight, guys. Okay, now we really are going to go to the next question. Okay, power patches, our little negative ion power patches, the real thin round ones that are about 2 inches in diameter. These are really great patches to put, like if you have a cell phone cover over your cell phone, take the cover off, put it on between the back of the phone and your cover. It's a great way to help mitigate some of the EMF that comes off a cell phone. Women, they can put it in their bra. Guys have put it in their briefs. That negative ion energy is really helpful for those particular organs. A negative ion patch can really go anywhere. I have seen people actually put the patch over a wound and put a Band-Aid to hold that in place. Negative ion patches are really versatile. Use them almost anywhere in almost any application. And I'm just going to jump on a couple other quick things for you here too. On the some of your devices, some of the people says, my phone cuts off. I set it to run all night and it only ran for an hour or 2. That is almost always a device setting or a issue with the device. Maybe it got a little glitch in the device and it just stopped it. If you're going to do that type of thing where you want your device to run through the night, make sure you go into your setting and make sure that it never goes to sleep. Because if it goes to sleep, it will turn off the SEFI. And we'll go into that more in some other calls. Have a great night. Enjoy your update. See you next week.
So tonight I have an announcement that I'd like to make. I have been in network marketing for 32 years. Before that, I had a career in government for 8 years. So for 40 years, I've been in hard labor. At least some days that's how I feel. And
They usually refer to that as something else.
I could tell you some of the stories, and you might agree with me, but that's not the purpose of this call. The purpose of this call is I am so excited to be able to continue to be a part of Solex, but in a different capacity. I am going to move to the board of directors and leave behind the position of CEO, and I am going to still remain involved. You'll still see me at events. You'll still rub shoulders with me. I'm going to act as a company ambassador. I can maybe come out and visit with you if you'd like me to come and host a meeting or be there sometime. Then we can work some of those kinds of things out. But I'm not leaving you. I'm still with you. I am just changing roles, and I'm going to take, for the first time I have never in those 40 years, in those entire 40 years, gone on a vacation just for me. I've always done things that were trips with distributors or other people, but I've never taken time to do anything for me. And I think it's about time. In addition to that, I've been to over 60 countries, but I've never been to Hawaii. And it's always been a dream of mine to just maybe go sit on a beach in Hawaii. So if you catch me there and see some sun rays on my face the next time we chat, that'll be awesome. But that's what's going on for me.
That's awesome. Yep. Thanks for being a great friend to the company.
Well, and I think we've done some great things in a short while, and I know that the future is huge, huge. And I'm so excited to still be a part of everything.
It is.
Well, Marvin, I have to say this has been a wonderful ride, a great journey, and thank you so much for everything that you've brought and done to help us get where we are. And you're going to have a great time on that beach. But Marvin, thank you.
I'm looking forward to it, but I'll tell you, Lauren, it has been a dream come true to find you and to make that left turn out of that elevator door
We all
that
need
one
those.
day that we met here.
That's right.
And we started something that I am so excited for the future. I just know that we're going to do great things. Thank you,
Marvin.
What
Thanks, Kai.
what a
And I brought
capstone.
you in.
Yes, yes.
So true.
What a capstone on a great career, Marv. You've done, and I guess it's now time to what? Hang up the Captain America shield?
There
Is that
you
what
go.
we're doing?
I may have to be kind of like the end of Infinity War, where I'm sitting on a bench and I pass it on maybe to you.
Oh,
There we
There we go.
All right.
Pass on the shield.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
night.
Good night,
everyone.
everybody. Hello, everyone.
Hopefully the world doesn't end this weekend, because that's going to be terrible.
But
Yeah,
we
I
could
would
say
not do this.
the top enroller gets to go with Marvin to Bali. And company will
but
pay
we
full
want them to
expenses
win.
for
We
both.
want them to win.
We're encouraging recruiting, Marv.
Doing it on purpose, Austin.
All right, sorry.
All right, where do we break? Do I have to do?
You button.
He's like, oh.